There are so many kinds of nerd. My child called me on not having like movie or series nerd things in my last video, even though I was like, I included dice and D&D books and miniature paints on the thumbnail. Surely they'll know what I'm talking about. I'm not trying to exclude anyone, but normally if people know that you're a huge fan of Lord of the Rings or Supernatural or whatever, they know that they can safely get you some merch for that. We're talking about the kind of nerddoms that people say are hard to shop for because you don't have the depth of knowledge in order to choose the right thing that is going to make your beloved nerd's heart sing. So I'm just going to caveat that everything that I talk about can be applied with a little stretch of the imagination to any nerddom that your darling nerd is a part of. Don't worry, I've got you. Today, we're going to talk about gifts for fiber nerds. What's a fiber nerd, eh? Well, it's somebody who works with fiber, somebody who quilts or does garment or costume sewing, someone who knits or crochets or even spins. All of these things, the common denominator of is fiber. You cannot sew without fabric. Fabric cannot be made without thread. Thread cannot be made without fiber. It all goes down to fiber, which is why it's called fiber arts. I'm going to say this with all the love in my heart. You have to pay a little bit of attention. You have to know some keywords going into this. If you go into shops armed, then you are way more likely to be able to get help from the people who work there. If you walk in and just say, my best friend sews, what do I get them? They're not going to be able to help you. Okay. There are some gifts that just are good gifts for a fiber person, no matter what they do. A pair of 4-inch tailor's points, $20 to $40 for a good quality pair. They make some really beautiful decorative pairs. Or a pair of embroidery scissors. You can never have too many of them. They're small, so they do get lost easily sometimes. They are a little bit spendy, which means that your fiber person probably won't invest in like 6 different pairs for themselves. So it's a pretty safe bet to get those little 4-inch super sharp little scissors. Those can cut yarn easily. They can do light fabric duty. They're very great at snipping thread. Those small things that are less than 4 inches from the hinge point are theoretically TSA safe, so your beloved nerd could even travel with them. The TSA rules say that if the scissor is less than 4 inches from the pivot point, then you can take it on a plane. I don't know that I would trust my fingers on a plane because if I get to security and they're like, you can't take that in your carry-on, there's nothing really to do unless I've brought a self-addressed stamped envelope that's padded that I could put them in and mail them to myself. Next best thing is getting them the little folding TSA approved scissors they're very cheap. They have little scissors in them. They usually come in cute little holders, but those don't break your heart if you have to like leave them with the TSA agent. Those make a great little stocking stuffer. You can often find them in kits or in their own little like carry cases or keychains or things like that. My microphone kept falling off of the drop spindle, so I've switched to using my shears as the holder for my microphone, which is a great segue because my next thing on this list is a set of shears. These are Kai's 7D230s. They're a professional shear. They're amazing. They cut like butter. I received these as a gift 3 or 4 years ago from Nonsense's mom, and they are my most beloved and most used tool in my workshop. And I just looked online. I thought they were like $300 shears, but you can get a set of these for less than $70. They are not that much more than a pair of Gingers at full price, and they cut so much smoother and cause me so much less pain. If you have a fiber nerd who cuts fabric for extended periods of time, I highly recommend this specific pair of shears. You might also think about getting your fiber nerd who sews some pressing tools. I have a custom-made tailor's ham and sleeve roll that I got for Christmas some uncountable years back. I don't know if the shop still exists on Etsy, but I will look it up and link it in the description if I can find it. Otherwise, you could just search custom tailor's hem and pick out colors and fabrics that you think your fiber nerd will like. If your fiber nerd already has a tailor's hem and sleeve roll, I might suggest a clapper, which really comes in handy doing super crisp seams. I don't care what you're doing with fabric, you need rulers and tape measures, and they will always walk off or fall down and get shattered and go missing at the exact time that you need them. So feel free to buy rulers for your fabric nerd. The ones I recommend are clear quilting gridded rulers. I'd also look into a 2-inch wide floppy ruler, which are great for pattern drafting. And then also if your person is doing a lot of garments, a French curve, a hip curve, those drafting tools really do come in handy when you're making alterations to make your pattern fit you. If your person is more into quilting, near where the rulers are in the quilting section, you'll find the templates. There's nothing wrong with asking if your quilter needs any new templates, or if they do paper piecing. You go through those little paper templates. Having more, great stocking stuffer. Organization is never amiss for any fiber artist. I'm really fond of magnetic pen dishes. If you want something a little more special than going to an automotive or home improvement store and finding one that's meant for tools, you could get a limited edition K-Facet colored one. Contained tool kits are also really good. Not the super cheap sewing kits that you see for like $10 or whatever, but like something a little higher end, something that's got really good tools, or a nice bag that has the space for tools that they already have, or like a little knitting notions kit. If you have a crocheter, they like different stitch markers. You have to have the ones that open and close. Don't get them the ones that are round that have no opening. You can get the ones that open and close for a crocheter. Also, while I was in Hamilton, we saw this really cute little thing of like quilt block cards so that you could like do a little, put the blocks together and see how your quilt might look. That might be a cute little gift for your quilter. If you are into higher ticket things, maybe present your quilter if they don't like the actual act of quilting, if they only like piecing the tops. Gift them with some quilting services. There are places that you can send your quilt off and have it quilted. Some will even put the binding on, and then you get a finished quilt at the end. There are people who really enjoy the act of quilting, don't get me wrong, but there are some people who don't. And if that person is your beloved nerd, they would love it for you to gift them some quilting services. This is not a call out for anyone else. I just need you to know I speak from personal experience. I have a quilt literally sitting on my sewing machine that is like 4 years old that I haven't finished because I don't particularly like the act of quilting on a home machine. There's a video about machine quilting coming soon. If you're looking to drop some Benjis, you can get a cutting machine. Either a plotter like a Cricut or a Cameo, or they have die cutters, which also has the added expense of getting all the dies, all the like patterns that you cut out. I will personally tell you that I have a Cameo 3 and I use it for lots of things, mostly HTV and sticky vinyl, but I have used it for cutting stencils, for airbrushing and other things like that. I have in the past used it for marker drawing. The newer ones can cut more materials. Like I wouldn't put leather or chipboard through mine, but I think the newer ones can handle those thicker materials and they have more pressure. Mine also won't do like engraving, but the newer ones will. I do not have any experience with die cutters, so I cannot advise you on which one is good to get. I will just say either talk to your person or make sure that there's a return policy for those high ticket items, because if you get the wrong thing, you want to make sure that they can return it and get the right thing. If, on the other hand, you don't want to drop Benjis, look into novelty items around your fiber artist's craft. If they like knitting, there are so many knitting mystery books, knitting mugs, crocheting mugs, anything that proudly proclaims your friend is a hooker. That's the term for somebody who crochets. I have personally seen quilting playing cards and knitting stationery. You may be tempted to buy fabric or yarn or fiber for your craft person. Well, let's leave aside the spinners for a second. We'll talk about the spinners later. I'm going to counsel you against buying fabric or yarn for your person unless you know exactly what they want. Instead, please consider getting them a gift card from the place that you would have bought fabric or yarn from. If you must buy fabric, I would suggest, if you have a quilter, get a pre-cut, a jelly roll, or charm squares in the colors that you see them working with often. That's the safest way to do it. If you want to buy yarn for your knitter, the safest road is sock yarn, fingering weight yarn in whatever colors you see them working in a lot. I'm going to give you what I personally would think is the most thoughtful gift related to fiber arts. I would love to get a little envelope and open it up and inside find a certificate for one trip to my favorite yarn store wherein I can purchase X number of dollars worth of things. No questions asked, no judgment. That way, I get to go and I get to touch all the pretty things. I get exactly what I want, and I have to treat myself. Now let's talk about spinners, because I did pull them out of the don't buy the fiber for them. Here is something that you can get for your spinner that almost every spinner is going to love. Get them a sampler box. Get them some luxury fiber. This is Angora rabbit, which is hand plucked off of the rabbit. This is $16 for 2 ounces. This is a luxury fiber braid, 50% yak, 50% silk. I think this was $36 for 4 ounces. My favorite fiber store is Yarn Barn in Lawrence, because they not only have knitting, but they also have weaving and spinning. And you could go out to a place like that and they have different fibers that you can get, different colors of the same fiber that you could get. You could build a little kit for your darling fiber nerd. Are they a beginner? Blueface Lister or Corriedale. Perfect beginning fibers. If they dream of spinning silk, get them some silk. Enable them to do the things that they talk about wanting to do. That's the best gift that you can give. Also, try and look for indie dyers, people who are around your location who do small batch handmade artist goods. I guarantee you, every single person who has any one of these fiber arts hobbies is going to adore small batch handmade goods, because that's what they make. A great little gift for your person who works on small projects that they can carry with them: project bags. Keeps the whole project contained in one little thing that they can easily take with them. Great. Do you have a fiber nerd in your life and you want an excuse to go to some place where you can buy fishing gear? Well, have I got a deal for you. These little fishing tackle cases, the ones with the little zippy bags in them so that you can keep all of your lures organized. These are amazing tool wrangling bags for fiber artists, especially for knitters, especially for knitters who work with interchangeable circulars a lot. If your knitter does that and they don't have a case for their interchangeable circulars, this is great. Yes, mine does say Bass Pro Shops Extreme on it, but I mean, small price to pay for the organization, if you ask me. If you have a lace knitter in your life who doesn't already have a set of blocking wires, if they knit shawls, get them a set of blocking wires. It's going to make their life so much easier. Again, I'm going to say handmade tools. Anything that someone has put time into creating. It's almost a yearly tradition with Nonsense's mom now that I get a seam ripper that has been hand turned by the son of one of her friends. They're beautiful, they're functional, I love them so very much. And to get something that has been handmade, again, someone who makes handmade things is going to appreciate that. This last one that I'm going to say is sly. It's sneaky, okay? Take your person to their store. Watch your person as they shop. If they pick something up and look at it and put it down, and then pick it up again and look at it and put it down, or if they continually pet a certain yarn, or they keep looking at a certain fabric. That's what they want, and they're trying to find a way to justify it to themselves. It's not just the pickup once. It's the thing that they keep coming back to, the thing that they linger on. You could ask them little sly questions like, hey, that's pretty cool. What does that do? If they're looking at like an embroidery machine or something. Or if they keep petting a ball of yarn, be like, so how many balls of that would you need to do what you're thinking with? Don't buy it then. Go back by yourself and then buy it and then wrap it up. Boom. You just won the holiday gift giving experience. Guaranteed. Again, gift cards are both safe and thoughtful. If you just want to be safe, you can tell them to buy whatever they want and say it's from you. But if you want to be safe and thoughtful, buy them a gift card to the place where they like to shop. It's closing in on the time. So if you need some emergency gift ideas, and I haven't spoken on what kind of nerd you have, go down in the comments. If you need help, I'll help you as best I can. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. This is where we get a little bit personal, okay? Have you had any water today? No, I'm not talking about coffee. Water. Not energy drinks. Water. I don't care if you drunk those things. Drink some water too. Make sure that you're hydrating. Have you eaten? Have you taken your meds? Have you done your base level self-care tasks? Have you read a book? Have you done something that makes your life worth living? Please do. And if you have, do it again. I will see you next week. I love you. I have a custom made. All right. Let's get the dubstep out of the video. It doesn't belong here.